Hey everyone, this is Schleicher from Gaming Trend and Tabletop Throwdown, and I'm here at Origins, and I am at the Arcane Wonders booth, and I am here with Brian Pope and Jason Medina, and they are the co-designers of Spoils of War, one of the big games here at Origins this year. And I'm here to find out a little bit more about the game. I know that it's some kind of betting game, but what is the big objective? It looks like there's some like fighting or like bragging going on or something.
Well, we're all Vikings and we just finished the big battle, the big raid, and we've got all these treasures to split up, but we got to figure out how to do it. So we've invented a dice game that will allow us to split the treasures fairly. The game is a game of bluffing, bidding, negotiating, and backstabbing, and some lying. And what we're trying to do is be able to have a winning hands each round, so that we can get the most treasures, get better and more treasures than our opponents. The game is loosely based on Liar's Dice, which is one of my favorite all-time mechanics of all time. I just love it. And we decided to take it up several notches, so that we made a game where everyone's involved at the same time, everyone's betting off of each other's dice, and everyone is actively trying to bluff and counter bluff. We go around the table, we roll these dice in our little dice cup here, and we all will be secretly looking at them behind our player screens like this, okay? And so we'll go around the table bidding. I might start off with a bid of 5 fours. If I say 5 fours, what that means is I think that there are 5 fours behind everyone's screens total. So we pull up all the screens, there'll be at least 5 fours out there. The next player can either bid higher or challenge me. It just keeps going around bidding higher and higher until somebody throws down a Viking challenge and says, challenge. And when that happens, what's interesting is everybody is involved in that bet. So everyone around the table will secretly decide whether they want to be on the challenger's side or the declarer's side, whether they think that there's that many dice or not. And of course, some people have been lying all along, and they've been bidding dice that they don't have, and there's a lot of interaction and Yomi layers going on there that you're thinking about things, and there's some other interactive elements we're going to explain later, but it's a very exciting moment to find out who's on whose side. You also will be betting money based upon how well you think you're going to do, how likely you are to be right, and those who bet the most money will get the most treasures and first pick of treasures.
And the treasures look like they're represented by these cards here.
Oh, yes, sir. And they're all sorts of interesting items. Jason will tell you a little bit about the different collection aspects.
Let me get some of these for you guys to see. So we have all different types of treasures. We have artifacts, which are going to give you special abilities to allow you to manipulate dice rolls, or perhaps counter moves that your opponents might make, or throw them off their game. And then you're also going to be trying to collect these different types of treasures out here. There's jewelry, there's armor, there's weapons, and there's dragon eggs. And there's 4 types of dragon eggs, 4 types of weapons, 4 types of armor, 4 types of jewelry. And if you can get all 4, that's going to give you some gold bonuses that come in at the end of the game. And in addition, if you're able to collect 1 jewelry item, 1 armor item, 1 weapon item, 1 dragon egg, and an artifact, that'll give you another bonus called a Conqueror's Orb.
So here's a set of all 4 different dragon eggs, and this is worth bonus points at the end. Now, my favorite part of the game, Keith, is these artifact cards. They are kept face down, and you flip them over when you're ready to use them, but they have all sorts of interesting mechanics in them. For example, the Loki's die is one of my favorites. It lets you change a dice to a different number, and that can be a very exciting moment when you've been revealing dice around the table, see if the bid is made or not, and then you change a dice at the last minute. And of course, somebody can counter this with a counter card and ruin your day.
We have cards that let you just say, you know what, I'm going to cancel that. You are not going to do that.
And for example, somebody might be bidding really high. There's players that like to bid it up, and they just go to a high number that nobody can outbid, but nobody really wants to challenge either. So you play this Gajalahorn. How do you pronounce that? It's a real Viking object. But anyways, you play this, it makes them bid higher than what they intended to. So you're like, take advantage of those guys who are trying to outbid. You might have people lying at the table. They've been bidding on dice they don't even own just to get the other bids up there, so that those people will be screwed when it comes around because there aren't those dice. So this is a great one to play. It's a singing stone. You say, you know what? Show me 2 of those dice. I want to see them. And if they can't produce them, they're going to pay you money. So lots of little cool interactions like that going on. The game is played in stages. There's a stage 1, 2, and 3, and so the back of the cards have that. And so by the time you get to stage 3, the game has got a lot higher values of treasures, and the artifacts are a lot more important. So the game has this progressing excitement, tension level that's building momentum as you go along.
So, so with the bidding aspect of the game, when everyone, how do you make it different than like Liar's Dice? Do you have everyone involved in it? And like, how do you determine who gets the different spoils?
Okay, you want to explain how everyone gets the treasures?
So for example, I'll just put some fake players out here. Let's say that this player had declared and they felt like there were indeed 6 sixes out there amongst all the dice, and this player challenged, and then this other player challenged as well. And we reveal the dice, and there's not 6 sixes, okay?
So that means the challenger's won.
The challenger would have won, and the declarer would lose, so he would forfeit his money back to the bank or back to the game, okay?
And he's not getting any treasures.
He's out.
Okay.
We then will turn to the challengers, and we'll see, well, this challenger risked 15 of his gold, and this challenger only risked 10. So now this challenger will get to the pick of the treasures, and he or she will choose the first 3 treasures of their choice. These regular treasures will all be face up, and the artifacts will all be face down. So you don't know exactly what you're getting, but they're generally going to always be something that's going to be beneficial during the gameplay and furthering your ambitions to become the leading Viking.
On the artifacts are face down. All of these are always face up.
So let's say this player then says, you know what, I want to go ahead and take all these dragon eggs. So I'm going to take this one and this one because this is getting near completing my set for the dragon eggs, and they put those over there. This other player now gets to choose 2 treasures. They don't get to choose 3, only 2, because they didn't risk as much, and they might decide, you know what, I really need artifacts to further my ambition, so I'm going to take these 2 face-down artifacts and see what those may contain. The rest of these treasures will then go into a discard pile, but they're not completely out of the game. There's later on artifacts that will come into play that will allow the players to search through these discard piles, and perhaps someone needs a sword, for example, to complete that set. They will then say, you know what, I'm going to take that sword, and now I have a complete set that's going to give me bonus gold for final score.
So you get gold by, like, I see the gold value on there. So when you get the artifacts or the different weapons or dragon eggs, do you take gold worth of value when you acquire them?
All at the end of the game, you just add up the value, which is printed right here on each card. So these right here would be worth 7 gold,
Okay.
2, 4, and 7. And then you also add up all the gold behind your screen that's left over.
Right.
So during the course of the game, when we've been betting, we've actually been betting our victory points, because this is what counted as our score. So you have to be careful, not to over bet. But however, as Jason was saying, whoever bets the most and risks the most will get first pick of treasures and the most treasures. So there's a real, emphasis to bet as high as you think you can afford to do, within limits. Most people will bet like 5 to 15 gold around, but if you really feel confident, you might throw in for 30, 35 because you want to top everyone else and get, there's a treasure out there you just gotta have, so you're gonna just bet higher. Of course, those players feel really bad when they don't get the bid.
Does everyone start with the same amount of gold?
Yes, we all start with 70 gold, and you were asking for things that separate it from Liar's Dice. The key elements are everyone has to take a side after each challenge, so you are all involved, and the information that you were providing the other players, you're listing on every bid because you're trying to figure out who's telling the truth, who wasn't, and what's really out there. The second thing is the betting. You have this awesome betting element where you want to bet as much money as possible to get first pick and most pick, but then you don't want to lose that money too, so you have to be careful. And then lastly is the treasure collection aspects, because you're collecting all these great cards and interesting things.
All conveniently printed on the back of every one of the cards, so it's very easy for players to see how much they're going to be getting at the end of the game and what they're going to be aiming for as they collect the different treasures.
Yeah, having the different spoils, of course, and then having a different way to score them makes it more interesting to.
This game is just filled with laughing and screaming. That's like the best way I can describe it. And I actually enjoyed every second of playing and developing this. And it's the game that I've wanted to play. I've always loved this type of game, and I decided I'm just going to make the game I would love to play. And I'm really excited about it.
So how many players does this handle?
Up to 10. The game itself is actually 3 to 5 players. All right, for $39.99. It's I think it's a good deal. But if anyone in your group has a copy too, you can put them together and play up to 10 players.
Oh wow!
So you can combine them. An ideal number is probably 6 to 8 is like a really good number of players to play with. So.
Okay, and this is available now, and I forget how much you said it was.
Oh, $39.99.
Okay, great. And it should be available in all the stores, and so you should be able to pick it up at your local board game
FLGS.
store. Yeah, exactly.
Friendly local game store.
Is there anything else that we haven't covered that think we should?
Well, I want to help promote one of our partners, Broken Token, made a really cool box. We don't have it with us, unfortunately. It's in their booth, but it's $20, and it's a wooden box that holds everything with a Viking ship and a treasure chest.
I'm gonna go grab it real quick. I have it right here. Can you do that?
If you have it, yeah, go right ahead.
So I'll also just mention that we've designed all the artifacts in the game to be very interesting and help work against the types of players that would try to dominate the game in certain ways.
Oh wow!
I'm excited. It has like the little Viking ship on the side. This is for your money, right? And they normally sell these types of boxes like $40, $50. This one's only $20. So
yeah, that's a really good deal.
I'm promoting them because I just love these guys. And I think they did a great job in our box. So
yeah, that's really impressive. So.
If you buy the game here at Origins, you get a gold cup with gold flakes in there. I think if you melt this down, those gold flakes are worth 13 cents on the market. And then, in addition to that, we're giving out promo cards too.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to interview you.